What's up, Tweener Heads? Welcome back to another segment here on Tweener Head Tennis. Today I have a very special guest, Alex. Alex is one of the top Swedish journalists in the tennis world and very big advocate of tennis Twitter. And I wanted to talk to him today about the new Davis Cup and what he thinks about it as well. So welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me, Philip.
I really appreciate you taking time out of your day, especially that you're in Spain as well. So time difference is not a big issue, but I'm very happy that he's here. So,
Thank you, I'm glad to be here.
So I reached out to Alex because Alex has been on Twitter. He's been talking a lot about it, and tennis Twitter has not been the biggest of fans of the new Davis Cup format, just because of the way everything is it works, the crowds not being as big as they wanted them to be, the issues with advertising boards and someone's computer somehow hitching to show recycling bins on the screen, to everyone just not being completely happy with it. Now, to get somewhat of a background of what's going on, recently they just changed the format of the new Davis Cup to have it just in one location instead of having two different rubbers. There's 2 out of 3 sets instead of 3 out of 5. There's now pools of teams that then compete to play in the single knockout rounds, and 18 nations are split into 6 groups of 3, which doesn't really make any sense because that's a very odd number to have in one group instead of having an even number. And then there's 2 semifinals that play on the 23rd and the final that is on the 24th of November. Now, we are currently recording this on the 21st just to get an idea of the round robin rounds and just the first impressions of what the new Davis Cup is actually like. And Alex, what have you been seeing so far, and what has been, like we talked about this before, what has been the biggest struggle with getting used to this new Davis Cup?
I would say the biggest struggle is to see like a hectic schedule, a lot of matches where you perhaps don't really know what they play for. I mean, I've been searching on the Davis Cup website, on the app, but you really can't find the information that you need to. To know what they are really playing for. I mean, the older formats, you would know the system. You would know that they play like 3 matches for 3 days and best of 5 sets, and you know all of the information. And now it's just like a big mess. You have like group matches and quarterfinals playing in the same day. I mean, it's just hectic, and I don't really think they have been planning it the right way. I mean, it's just a big mess. You could summarize it like that.
Yeah, I think when it comes to defining change, and this is all new to everyone, and a quote that I found from PK, one of the founders of the new Davis Cup format, which, by the way, some people may not be the biggest of fans of him being a part of this, but he says sometimes things have to change or they have the risk to die. Now, I personally never saw the Davis Cup dying. It was never gonna die the way it was. I think maybe some people had some opinions on the way it was, but I didn't see a really big issue with the way it was being run before. Like, now there's Davis Cup and now Davis Cup finals, and it seems to be contradicting each other in some way.
Yeah, definitely. I think there also was like a myth, or should you say misinformation, that you spoke about here, that the previous system didn't work, that the biggest players didn't play, and that the biggest matches wasn't even crowded. That's just false. You could see Switzerland playing France in that epic Davis Cup finals.
Yeah.
In Lille, I think, the football stadium. That was just like insane. Federer was playing, Wawrinka was playing. Yeah, I mean, we can't get that atmosphere with a neutral venue here in Madrid.
Yeah.
A lot of misinformation, I would say, about the previous system.
And I think what's interesting, you speak about Roger Federer. I was looking up why he wasn't playing the Davis Cup, or why Switzerland wasn't playing, and was it because they didn't qualify, or was it because they didn't want, or like they just didn't qualify for the finals?
I think they lost the playoffs.
Okay. I was a bit confused about that.
Yeah, but I'm sure if Federer would say that he would play, they would get a wild card. So
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, if they... That's interesting. Would you...
Yeah, definitely.
So there was a situation recently, speaking of the new format, where... Was it between the US and Canada, where there was a 6-0-6-0 walkover?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you talk about that for the listeners to understand what happened?
So Canada had won already 2 ties, right? They
Yeah.
won 2 matches, and it was already clear that they would play the quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't even bother to play doubles match against the USA, and forfeited the match, got a loss, and that affected Italy, I think.
Yeah,
In a way that could make their chances even worse. So if it affects a third nation, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
This system was done because these things couldn't happen. They said before, but I mean,
What?
that's false.
So why would they allow, if it's a walkover, why would they not just play it? Because if it counts towards their overall record, that would make no sense to give them a 0-0 win, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's very weird, but I think they thought that this match wouldn't even matter, and they would probably rest up their players. And yeah, it's a weird situation because we haven't seen it before.
I just don't think it's ever been, because it's usually just considered a walkover, because in tennis you never really have something that says 6-0, 6-0 because we didn't play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't make sense, especially in tennis.
It doesn't really. And yesterday it happened with Australia. I think they only played for 2 games.
Yeah.
And Pierce and Australia in the doubles as well. They just forfeited the match, and the match was over.
Sure, let's just go with that.
So this says a lot about the new Davis Cup system. I mean, they definitely have to change it for next year. Even if they change it, I'm not sure that that people, the fans, that we will experience this lovely tournament that Davis Cup could be, with home and away ties and all that. So.
And do you think the mutual site works? I understand having it all in one place, but once you start getting backtracked, or things like the American doubles match finished at 3 a.m., like I don't think that was intended to happen, but that's like a Grand Slam match that we're waiting to finish because they need to fit it in. It's not like they have another day to do it, which they did, which doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And they started the match pretty late. I think it was like, what was the time when it started? 18 o'clock.
They're like
at night.
6.
And I mean, I mean, starting a tie at that time, you have to play 3 matches. Of course, it's going to go past midnight. And the match before was even late. So,
Yeah.
I mean, as a fan, I think it could be all right if you're a big tennis fan and you are there for your country, want to support your players. I mean, Chile and Kazakhstan as well had some great fans.
Yeah.
A lot of singing and some nice tunes and all that. But I mean, for me, Davis Cup is all about the home and away ties. Getting these world-class players to places in the world where, I mean, they haven't had that experience before. So.
And I think it adds to, like you were saying, it just adds to the World Cup experience, being able to play in front of your country and being able to have different atmospheres that you play in instead of one mutual site.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I won't get used to this, I would say.
And I believe you saw this tweet and you responded to it. It was, someone quoted a tweet and said that Sanga's Challenger final in Bordeaux had more supporters than, what was it? The French and it was like the French.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was the French and Japan match, and I honestly can agree with that because then PK chimed in and said there's a difference between you taking a photo before players are on court versus after, but we're looking at the opening ceremony and there's no one in the stands.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look good. I mean, PK, he can tweet whatever he wants, but that is not a good look for him, tweeting to like random fans and trying to get his point.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wasn't even correct because at the opening ceremony, he was like empty in the stands. And that is not a good thing, and says a lot about this event, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm reading some of the facts about it. I think in 2017, France played Japan, and there were over 10,000 fans in the stands, but you play them in the Davis Cup finals, and I can count the amount of people on my fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just so bad. Especially given the fact that they have invested so much money in this event and that they don't even have full stands.
Yeah.
Quite small venue, quite small court as well, as it was in France and Japan.
I think if you're a fan, you can go and you have fun, but from a visual perspective, it doesn't look good. I mean, I'm looking at Australia play Canada, and two of the best teams to represent tennis as of right now with the amount of talent they have, and I'm looking at the seats behind them to the side, the executive suites you would see at slams that won't be filled for a really long period of time until probably the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. But it's the quarterfinals of a Davis Cup, and you're seeing some of the top talent, and it looks like it's just a first round match. It doesn't look like anything else to me.
No, and this was supposed to be the World Cup of Tennis. I mean, it's the last tournament of the year, the last week of the year, and there's no. I can't come up with any reason that could explain this. So it's it's a big scandal.
Why would you use the word scandal in that sense?
I'm not really sure why I used the word scandal. That was the first word I could come up with.
I can see where you're coming from though when it comes to the amount of hype and the popularity that it was creating, and in terms of the timing of it, you said it's towards the end of the year. It's supposed to be the last big event of the year. I think Novak was quoted saying that he wanted the new Davis Cup to be right after the U.S. Open. The most ideal time of the year is after the U.S. Open, probably the end of September. That would be the best time to have the Super Cup, hopefully one cup in the future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought because, isn't that the same time that the Laver Cup goes?
Yeah. Laver Cup, I think, is late September, right? It's like the 27th to the 29th?
Yeah, I'm not sure Federer likes that quote from Djokovic, but either way, I think...
No, it's true, though.
I think... I think Djokovic is right because players have been on tour, they have been playing without any longer breaks since January. It's a very long season. Mm-hmm. Now they just made the season even longer. Mm-hmm. I think Zverev talked about this as well.
Yeah, I think that's why Zverev's not playing for Germany.
I have seen Stockholm Open for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And even in October, you can see that players are pretty burnt out.
Yeah.
Very tired, and players talk about it openly as well. And having the Davis Cup finals in late November, it just doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah, it doesn't, and I agree with you with the length of the schedule. I understand that putting it closer towards the last slam of the year would make it more beneficial for players and more interested. towards the end of the year. But right after the U.S. Open, there's already tournaments still going on, and you have two more Masters 1000s, two more Masters 1000s after the U.S. Open. So you're
definitely, and
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
These Davis Cup finals, like 1 week, it's not enough. You need at least 10 days or 12 or 14 days to make it possible. Like having 4 groups, maybe, with 4 teams in every one of them, and then playing quarterfinals and so on. 1 week is not enough.
It's especially if they try to put in every match in between, and there's always the bigger argument whether it's 2 out of 3 versus 3 out of 5. I've been always a fan of the 3 out of 5 thrillers because in Davis Cup you see a lot more of them. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, best of 5, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We had some great best of 5 matches over the years. And I agree with you as well. A lot of them has been playing in Davis Cup in, different nations all around the world. And yeah, for me, Davis Cup is definitely best of 5 sets, no doubt. And
I think if they wanted to pack everything in, I think that's why they picked 2 out of 3, so that way they can put the same matches on the same day instead of dragging it out for 3 days squeezing them in and then playing another match at 10 a.m. the next day, because the U.S. had to play the next day after Sock and Query finished at 3:34 a.m. and they had to play the next day. This is not the college level where you play double headers. This is professional athletes that have a full schedule and you're asking them to play immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird actually seeing like Murray and Great Britain and all of the countries playing that, seeing them play day after day. I mean, it's not a good look, and you get the feeling that everything is just going so fast that you don't really get the time to enjoy the experience and so on. So
I think, and if we look at more of the people that are not their side of it, people around the world trying to follow it, I think you've definitely tweeted about this. I've seen a lot of tweets about this. The Davis Cup app, this is turning into a bash on the Davis Cup, from a realistic point of view, this is their first time doing this. A new format, new type of technology. They're trying to make everything good, but it seems like the effort isn't there when it comes to making it the World Cup of tennis. And it seems like it's, half-assed throughout the entire way. The app's not updated. They're putting the same person's name twice. Gael Monfils played for France and Japan and played against himself. You had I never seen someone's computer crash for an advertisement sign on a court like that. No. You usually see like the colored TV blinkers or it just goes white or black. But never have I ever seen just 1,000 recycling bins from someone's PC computer.
That was something else, yeah.
So I just don't think they put in the effort or 100% effort into the details that people will scrutinize them for. And tennis Twitter, for me and you, is normal, and we kind of understand the gist of how everyone works and how everyone responds to certain things in tournaments. But for other people that are just sports fans and trying to figure out what's going on with the Davis Cup, it would be a much harder thing to do.
Definitely. I mean, you can't even see. I try to get like information about what's this match about. How many? If Russia wins this match, how would it like the score look? And I mean, how are the? Yeah. I mean, you can't get the information that you need on the app and on the website as well.
The website
couldn't even see like. Yeah, on the website as well, I think you couldn't even see
really
how many sets each nation had won in the group stage. I mean,
and that was an important part, right? And that was a very
Sorry?
and counting the sets at this year's Davis Cup final was a very important part of.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's definitely an important part because you had, as everyone knows, three nations in one group. So of course it's very important to know, and if you can't get that fact, it's just crazy.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that Croatia lost all 6 of its rubbers. Oh my God, yeah. Lost against Spain and Russia. They didn't have one person win. That's tough.
I saw on that subject. I saw like a funny article on the website that they wrote that the Spanish fans had a lot to cheer about when Rafa Nadal and Spain won against Mektic and Goyo. I don't think even Mektic has a ATP ranking in singles.
No, they don't. It was I read that. So Croatia has a bunch of talent. They have great doubles talents. They have Koric, they have Karlovic, but they have Cilic as well. Did Cilic play? I forget if he played for the team this year.
Wow. Not sure I've seen him, Cilic.
And they have Karlovic as well, who just played in Houston, but apparently there was a money debate, and they had to play a guy that didn't play a singles match in 2 years against someone, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So how would you? And if I was speaking about rankings and points, kind of a side note about this, how would you compare, or how would you see this to the ATP Cup that's going to be premiered in 2020?
In terms of just the whole experience or ranking points?
Just a little bit of everything, because I think it's another team competition that they're introducing that's new to the players, and it's added to the calendar, replacing, I believe, the Hopman Cup. And it's a different way of viewing who's going to be playing for each nation. Because it's like Davis Cup, but just ATP slapped on it.
I think, it's very interesting because I think ATP Cup players will get ranking points.
Okay.
Yes, they will. And, I have read a lot of things about ATP Cup, and they have some pros and cons. I'm just curious about if people will see like Norway's number 1 that is ranked 400 in the world versus a very good player.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see. But I like the Maidan idea.
Yeah, I do too. Getting more people involved within their country. And I think...
Yes, definitely.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting because at least in Greece, you have Tsitsipas, who's top 10 in the world, just won the ATP finals, and then you have the next best Greek, which I don't think is in the top 200. Or is he?
No, I think maybe 400 or 500.
Yeah, exactly. And he's getting to represent Greece, which I think is great for the smaller countries. But then you have other countries that... Which, by the way, I didn't even think I saw Switzerland in that one either. During their promotion.
Yeah,
it's weird how everything's working. Is there... Yeah. How would you... If you were to sum up or give a quick recap on the Davis Cup's first year, how would you sum it up in your own words?
Wow.
It's okay.
I mean, it's just bad. I mean, they have to... It doesn't feel like it's even properly planned enough or discussed. It's just a big mess. You could say that, a big mess.
A big mess.
That's your headline, Philip. Big mess.
The Davis Cup is a big mess.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it definitely is.
it.
I mean, before there were some questions, and people were like, "Come on, you wait for the event until you criticize it."
But it's
we
not.
have read a lot of things this week. It's just so weird, everything. A lot of mistakes. I mean, this was supposed to be the World Cup of tennis this week. It would be a great thing for tennis, they said. But no, it's just been a big mess, and players have openly spoken about it as well. So, yeah, they need to rethink things and change things. Definitely.
I agree. I think, like I said before, it's still the first year, but when you have players commenting on it that aren't even involved with the finals, you have retired players. You had Sam Groth chiming in on it. You had the computer era. Taylor Fritz even said when they played that the tennis wasn't a priority in the U.S. because there's so many other sports. I mean, even the Enrico Mario Riva, he was buying tickets for the Madrid finals. I don't know if you saw this, but instead of buying tickets, it says buy fertilizers. So
that was a great tweet.
That was fantastic. I have never seen anything like that. But it's small stuff like that people start to notice, and the more it happens, the more buildup it has to be saying that, like you said, it's a disaster. It's not many people are enjoying it, especially from a viewership standpoint. So how can they go forward making it better? It's going to be very tough to gain the trust of everyone's respect back, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they already started at like minus when the changes was announced.
Yeah.
Whole Gerard Piqué thing and Cosmos thing and Haggerty thing, and after a few days here into the new Davis Cup, we've seen some shitty stuff, and I mean, they have to do something.
I totally
next
agree.
Year or we have to change the format again.
I'd rather not, or just go back to normal.
Back to what it was, maybe.
Yeah,
exactly. Back to what it was, because that worked.
And no one's
at the beginning of this interview.
Yeah.
That there was a lot of misinformation about how the old system worked, and let's get back to normal.
Get back to normal, please. And the normal, and it's while watching this and with the trophy and everything, I think, for me at least, when I watch some of these matches, I just think it's a fake Davis Cup that uses the same trophy as the old one. Does that make sense? Like it's disguising itself as the Davis Cup with everything, just not actually the Davis Cup.
That makes a lot of sense.
So I'm hoping they can figure something out in the future. And ironically, PK's wife Shakira is doing the closing ceremony. I don't know how that happened. No offense to him.
They were advertising her coming, concerts as well.
Of course. It's
on site, so yeah.
That's just a fun fact that everyone needs to know about, in the sense of PK is one of the founders. He's married to Shakira, who's doing the closing ceremonies. Shakira. So to sum that up, that's exactly what's happening. So I just want.
It says a lot about this joke event.
I would have to somewhat agree with you there. But Alex, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about this event. Do you want to give a shout out to your work and your blog and being the top Swedish reporter for tennis?
Oh, wow. That's some kind words. Kind words. I don't know if people know Swedish, they can follow me. No, I'm just kidding.
There's English version.
Follow me on Twitter, maybe Alex Phil. English, yeah. Sorry, there is. I mean, I forgot. Tennisportalen.se. That's a Swedish tennis site. We do some English content as well. Maybe I get to see you in Melbourne, Philip. That would be great.
That would be fantastic. Will you be at Indian Wells next year?
I mean, I had a lot of friends saying that I really should get there because it's amazing, they said.
I'm finally going. Yeah, I'm finally going. So
nice.
I'm beyond excited for it.
Wow.
So if I get to see you there, that would be
Indian Wells.
Yeah, 2020.
2020, we're doing Indian Wells.
Yes, love it.
It's official.
Yes. I love it. So I'll put...
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'll leave all the links to your blogs, Instagram, Twitter, all in the description below on YouTube and on Spotify if we get it up there. But thank you again so much for joining us, and I hope to talk to you soon.
No worries. Thank you, Philip. Have a good one.
You too.